Everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here tonight to film a book tag. I was tagged in the BooktubeBooker book tag by Doris over at Aldi Books. The original tag creator was David over at the Poptimist, and this is a really fun tag where David's trying to collect information about what people's favorite books are on Booktube for this year so far, sort of as in response to all of the book awards that have been coming out recently and how that compares. He wants to see how that compares, what Booktube people's opinions compare, how that compares to these national prize lists. So there's 9 or 10 questions here, and let's just get started, shall we? The first one is, what's your favorite fiction book of the year so far? And these are supposed to be books from the end of 2017 through current times in 2018. Although if your favorite book is from outside that time period, that's fine too. But I did my favorite book. I do have a favorite book from that time period of the current year. And that is a book I just finished this weekend, and that's called The Overstory by Richard Powers. This book's been on several of the prize lists recently, and I just found it absolutely beautiful. I think it's well deserving of being on prize lists, and it's an excellent novel. So that's my pick for fave fiction so far this year. Now, fave nonfiction so far this year is I Am by Maggie O'Farrell. This is my first book by this author. I read it earlier this year in the spring, or the beginning of the summer, I guess it was. And it's basically sort of a memoir. It's written as 17 separate essays about her brushes with death. And some are more sort of specifically connected with death than others. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. And it's a book that I borrowed from the library, but I'm certainly going to be purchasing my own copy so that I can reread it again in the future. Question 3 is, what's your favorite debut novel of the year? And for this one, I am going with the flow, I'm going with the crowd, and I am also choosing There by Tommy Orange. This is a book I read not too long ago, within the last month, and I found it to be a very powerful read. It was a read that pulled me along. It's a book about urban Indians in the United States. It's about 10 or so people that are living separate lives, but are all being brought together for this powwow that's being held in Oakland, California. As the story progresses, you begin to see how each of these people's lives are interconnected, and how the greater social issues surrounding Native Americans' lives today are sort of brought into the story. I thought it was an extremely powerful read. 4 is, what's your favorite poetry or short story collection of the year so far? And for that one, I chose Whereas by Layli Long Soldier. This is a poetry collection by a Native American author. These poems, I didn't love every poem in this collection, but some of these poems, you can see where I've tabbed this collection. Some of these poems were so powerful that I still think about them daily. And reading this in juxtaposition with There by Tommy Orange and the nonfiction book An Inconvenient Indian this year really sort of gave me this picture of Native Americans that I really value, and really was impressive to sort of read 3 different works of literature all about the topic but coming at it from different angles. I thought that was really valuable and really interesting, and has really really made my reading experience that much more enjoyable. I don't read a lot of poetry, and this book was recommended to me and given to me by Patrice Jones, and it's just an absolutely beautiful collection. I would encourage anybody, even those of you who do not normally read poetry, to pick this up. You really get some of the history of Native Americans, and also what current, present day Native Americans are having to deal with from this poetry collection. It was really, really good. The next one is, what's your favorite work in translation? I don't read a lot of work in translation, and I don't believe I've read anything that is current to the present year in translation, but my favorite work that I've read this year in translation was Beartown by Frederic Bachman, and the translator was Neil Smith. I listened to this one on audio. I really like Frederic Bachman's books on audio. They have a lot of heart. They really pull you into the story. You become very invested in the characters. And Beartown was a book that's about a hockey town in sort of northern Europe. I can't remember exactly which Nordic country that it took place in, but it's a hockey town, and it's about a young woman, teenagers. One young woman is sexually assaulted, and this action reverberates throughout the town and encompasses the local hockey team. It was a really, really excellent book. And there's a sequel, Us versus Them, I believe it's called, and I plan to listen to that as well some point this year. So the next one is, what's your favorite comic or graphic novel so far this year? Again, I don't read a lot of comics or graphic novels, but the favorite one for me so far this year is Blue is the Warmest Color by Julie Moreau, I believe is how you say her last name. This is actually a comic that's been translated, and the translator is Ivanka Hunenberger, and I believe it's translated from the French, and it was just a beautiful story about a young woman who in her exploring her sexuality as a teenager and into early adulthood. It was a lovely story, and I really, really enjoyed it, and the art was really beautiful as well. What's your favorite book cover so far this year? And for that one, I have to go back to the Overstory. And I apologize for the glare because this is a library copy, and so of course you've got your plastic cover over it, but the concentric circles leading into magnifying the forest scenery here speaks so much to this story, which is focused on trees and forestry and the implications of what humans are doing and not even noticing they're doing to the natural environment and to forests, and sort of this idea that if you really start to look and zoom in on what's going on, there's a lot of meaning that you could extract that maybe you're missing because you're not paying attention. I really love this cover. I think it really speaks well to the story there. Number 8 is who's your favorite author, and this relates to not only their writing but also their presence on social media and their interaction with their fans and all that sort of thing. And for me, I'm going to choose Roxane Gay. I love to follow her on Twitter. I love everything that I've read of hers that she's written. I find her sort of wit and sarcastic, her sarcastic sort of asides to be extremely funny. I think that she's a very brave person who's overcome a lot of adversity in her life and who's very honest about the challenges that she has faced and continues to face as a large person of color in this world. And I think she's just an amazing person with a lot to offer and give the world. So she's my favorite author for this particular tag. Number 9, your favorite Booktube video. And for this, I couldn't just pick one. I'm going to pick 2 because they relate to each other. And the first one is Booktube articles Piss Me Off by the Poptimist. And then the response video from the Storyscape, which is about the Booktube article in the New York Times. And I will link both of those videos down below. And I thought they were really excellent explorations of what Booktube currently is and how the New York Times article missed the mark or didn't miss the mark about Booktube and what Booktube's all about. I thought they were really excellent videos. Both the Poptimist and the Storyscape make excellently produced videos, and I'm very I aspire to someday make videos as well produced as both of them. My favorite new-to-me booktuber is Anna Baillie-Karas, I think is how you say it. She's an Australian booktuber, and her channel is called Books on the Go. I learned about her through Sean over at Sean the Book Maniac, and the awesome thing about Anna is not only does she have a great booktube channel, which I find very compelling, but she has 2 podcasts as well that she currently is working on, and I love both of them, and those are all new content for me. So if I didn't need some new bookish content in my life, I mean, who wouldn't want new bookish content in their life? And Anna delivers. So I will link her down below as well, so you can go and check her out and also fall in love with her channel. And the very last thing to do is to tag some folks to also participate in the fun here. But please do, I have the link to the Poptimist original video down below, and in his original video there is a link to a survey form. So if you don't have your own YouTube channel, please do go and fill out that form, because David would like as much information as he can, and I think it would be fun for all of us to participate in this project. But I will tag some booktubers that I enjoy watching, and so I am tagging Aoife at Fred Weasley Died Laughing. I'm tagging Mel at Mel's Bookland Adventures. I'm tagging Emily at Emily Sears, and Olive over at A Book Olive. So I hope you will all do this tag and join in the fun, and thank you to Doris for tagging me, and thank you to David at the Poptimist for creating this tag in the first place. I will talk to you later.